Hey everyone, it's Shayla, and welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things spirituality, locks, what's going on in my world, and so much more. So, as you can see from the title of this video, I want to just have a quick conversation with you all about the transition from being a nice girl to a secure woman. And I don't want to really rush through this video, but we'll see how things go. If you're new to my channel, I'm so happy to have you here. I am on a self-discovery journey myself, so everything that I'm talking about is something that I have recently discovered, that I'm living out, or that I've just been living out for quite some time. I do want to preface by saying that anything that I'm sharing, it's from a woman's perspective. I don't claim to know it all about any other gender besides what I've experienced as a woman. And so you'll, hear that throughout this video where I'm, saying what a woman would go through from this experience with a man or from, friendships who could be, same or opposite gender. So I just want to preface that and say I don't try to talk about any other gender that I don't have living experience of. So the transition from a nice girl to secure woman, it is definitely one that is necessary, especially if you have a background or you're currently in a place of struggle, of codependency, of, childhood trauma, and you've realized that being a nice girl or playing nice has really gotten you the end of the barrel, like poor treatment. You feel disrespected. You feel like you do so much for people and no one hears you, no one sees you, no one shows up for you when you need something. What has led me to having this conversation obviously is like my own life experience with being a people pleaser and, being a nice girl, of, overcoming codependency. And I still have my moments, my tendencies where I get into people pleasing, but I'm able to recognize it immediately and shut that shit down. And I hope that whoever is meant to see this video, if they, also are trying to get past the mental, mindset of people pleasing, codependency, that they'll be inspired to make some changes, to set some boundaries, and to get past that. Because it honestly doesn't serve anyone well when you're choosing to be a nice girl. I do have some tea that I'm going to be sipping throughout this video because I've been a little nasally. Hopefully y'all can't hear it. I can, but who's the nice girl? The nice girl is commended. She's highly esteemed for her undying devotion to everyone. She's so helpful. She's always putting everybody else first. Whenever, a situation arises, people look at her and they're like, she can help. She can figure it out. She's so good at coming up with solutions, and other people get a chance to take a back seat because nice girl comes to the rescue. She wants to be validated. She wants to be liked by everyone. She wants outward praise and she needs it. Sometimes it comes from having a childhood where said person was emotionally neglected, and not that their parents did that on purpose, but maybe their parents just did not know how to connect with their child on an emotional level. And it creates a craving and almost like a hole in your heart where you need that outward validation, Yeah, she goes above and beyond without expecting anything in return, is what you think. But deep down inside, she's frustrated. She's exhausted. She's getting worn out because she's always showing up for everybody else. Can you relate to that? I sure can. And I had to really come to grips with the fact that I don't have to be everyone's savior, and that it's okay to let other adults figure out their own stuff. And even though I do it so well, I do it so well. Like whenever I show up for people and I'm like, yeah, I can step in, I can figure this out. Like I probably could be a social worker, as a career. But I had to learn for doing social work and doing therapy. And I'm none of those things on a professional level, but I just really have those gifts. But I've had to learn how to take a step back, take a breather, and allow other people to sort out and figure out their own things. And I can just listen and just listen. I don't have to listen and allow my wheels to start turning and figuring out a solution, because when they don't take my advice, then I tend to be very frustrated. And I've had several situations in my adulthood where I've done that, and then a person didn't take my advice, and I'm just like, okay, you don't listen, so I'm not talking to you anymore. Like, that was, me in my 20s, honestly. I would say in my early 30s also. Like, realistically, I mean, I'm 40 now, and I'm still learning how to have and maintain healthy relationships. And this is part of it, is not being someone's savior and allowing adults to figure out their own shit and work through it by themselves and just listen. If they need advice, I try to keep it real vague for my own self preservation, because I have learned the importance of boundaries. Okay, so now there's a difference between being nice and being kind. Okay, a lot of people probably grew up hearing, especially if you're a girl, you need to play nice, you need to be nice to everyone. And, we got praised for being nice. And that could look like you need to hug Uncle such and such, or such, or Auntie whoever. And children, their intuition is so like it's so, what am I trying to say? Like, children can pick up on energy like so well. They're so new to earth, so they're still sensitive to a lot of energy and, just bad spirits. And a lot of times children, because their parents just didn't have this like emotional intelligence or awareness, where they would force children to hug people or be around people or be babysat by people, where that child was like, no, I don't feel safe, I don't feel comfortable. But you were punished if you weren't compliant. And it teaches you over time to ignore your intuition, to ignore what feels wrong, what feels uncomfortable. And that is how we end up in these people pleasing, because you got praised when you ignored your intuition and went along with whatever your parent or your caretaker said. And you kind of, that becomes like your blueprint. You get wired into thinking like, okay, I know I feel uncomfortable with this, but I remember that one time I got spanked because I wouldn't hug Uncle whoever, or, I didn't follow, I wasn't compliant, but you felt unsafe. And I hear so many stories of women, way too much, where they have similar experiences and they end up in these relationships with individuals who don't care about their like basic needs, but they stay in relationship with these individuals who really don't have their best interests at heart, don't care about them, treat them so poorly, don't honor them, as a woman or even as a person. And for some reason they stay, because they were taught at an early age that women have to, keep the peace. We have to sacrifice. Sometimes we have to put ourselves last and put our families first for the sake of peace. And I used to be that girl. And what it got me was a very miserable life. Um, some diagnosis that I'm still working today to unravel. And it's really sad. So I really feel like I was put here to be able to help women to get out of those situations. But again, I'm doing it with boundaries, through YouTube. And little by little, I pray that individuals who are in unsafe, abusive relationships of any kind will wake up, will begin to love themselves, get on a self-love journey, learn what boundaries are, set them, keep them, so that they can have a life that feels worth living, a life that feels abundant, that feels sweet and beautiful and delicious. And you deserve that. We all deserve that. That's a very basic thing. Okay. So, the difference between being nice and being kind. Being nice is like the people pleasing. You are having a certain characteristic, you're treating people a certain way because you need to be accepted. You do it, you do things for praise, acceptance. Um, but being kind, that is a character trait, that's a fruit of the Spirit. Kindness is you're doing something from a heart space of, I don't expect anything in return. If they don't do anything in return, that's okay, because I'm being kind. I'm paying it forward at the grocery store. I'm paying it forward at the coffee shop. That's an act of kindness, because you really just want to do something for someone with no expectations of anything in return. Now, on the other hand, being nice is I try not to even be nice. So I'm trying to like find some type of, example, but like going, just pretty much like going above and beyond, and you're doing it because you need external validation. Going to a protest and holding your sign up and taking pictures, but then you leave and then you go and post it on social media. It looks nice, but you're really just doing it for people to give you likes, for people to give you, validation. Yeah, there's a difference. There's a big difference. And a lot of people who play nice and are nice, it's really under the guise of, like I said, codependency, people pleasing, but inside you're frustrated, you're angry, you have this ongoing statement of, I do all this for everybody else and no one does anything for me. I'm giving everything that I have, and why don't people go above and beyond for me? Because you're doing it for the wrong reason. Okay. I also want to say, like I mentioned, becoming a nice girl, this is something that is taught. But just because you were trained and taught and groomed as a child to be a nice girl does not mean that once you become aware of it, that you just like, oh, this is just how I am. No, boo-boo, this is not just how you are. When you become an adult, you're responsible for your life. You can't blame anybody else. It's your responsibility to heal the things that were programmed that are really not good for you. They're not. And it's not easy. I'm not going to sit up here and act like, oh, in 90 days, you will no longer be a nice girl. It takes time. It depends on the type of trauma. It depends on the type of childhood. It depends on your life experience. And I will say, moving on to my next topic, that there are people who were raised in survival who love them a nice girl. I have met those people. A lot of women who I talk to, just random, they are either just getting out of a relationship with someone who was raised on survival, someone who's narcissistic, has, NPD, or they're either in a relationship, they just got out of one, or they were years ago and they're in recovery. And it's so sad how common this is. I literally met a lady at the nail shop a couple months ago. Same thing. I don't even know how we got on the conversation. And she was telling me that she's getting divorced. Like, I was just like, oh, and I think I probably asked why. And she was describing their personality. And I said, have you ever heard of narcissism? And she's like, oh my gosh, yes, I just discovered it. So she's on her discovery of like, what was it about me that attracted this type of personality? And I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, it is the person who was taught to play nice, to be nice, deny your emotions, deny what feels right, and sacrifice, give up what you feel strongly about, or what feels right within your body for the sake of someone else's happiness. And a lot of times in society, I don't know about like other countries, because I live in the United States, but we are expected to put ourselves on the back burner. for our husbands, for our families, for our children. And that is why, for the most part, it's women who have autoimmune disorders, because they don't take care of themselves. They don't put themselves first. They don't prioritize their own needs above everybody else's. And I'm sure you've all heard this analogy, when you're on an airplane and they're going over the safety protocol, they say put the mask on yourself first, and then once you have it on you, then you put the mask on someone else. We hear that, but are we doing that? Are we doing that? It feels uncomfortable to do that when you've been taught your entire life, look out for your family, look out for your kids, do this, and you should, but you do that after you've taken care of yourself. Self-care is so important. And self-care is not getting your nails done. I don't do that no more. That's not self-care for me. That's just getting your nails done. Self-care is sitting with yourself, doing shadow work, journaling, taking time to be alone, not being at everyone's beck and call. Self-care looks like doing nothing. I talked to one of my friends yesterday, and I sent her a post that I get from Eternal Sunshine, and it was like a word of encouragement. And it said, taking time to rest is good for your body, or something along those lines. And she said, girl, I'm going to be in my pajamas all day today. And I said, I know that's right, girl, do it. We need that. And I'm like, I'm going to go get a massage. And then I plan on watching cartoons and sitting on the couch and doing nothing. That was how my Saturday went. And I loved it. Oh my gosh. I fell asleep watching Rugrats. And it probably sounds like, oh, she's so immature. But I've had a rough life. I don't look like what I've been through, but I am now at a place at 40. I'm giving myself permission to have fun more than I ever have. I don't have to prove my adulthood to anyone. And I feel like I spent my 20s trying to prove that I was an adult, trying to prove that I was good enough. I do not care what anyone thinks about me anymore. And it's so liberating. It's so freeing to be on the other side of being a people pleaser, of being codependent, of feeling like I need to be liked. And it's probably been harder for me than other people because I am a Libra. And if you know anything about astrology, like Libras love to be loved. We love love. We love acceptance. We love all things beautiful and love and kind. And but getting on the other side of that, where I'm so secure in myself that I don't care. I don't have to be outside. I don't have to be in the middle of everything. I love being at the house. I have created a peaceful environment for myself and for my family where we're just at home chilling. Okay? I love it. I told you I get distracted. I gotta get back to my notes. As I was saying, there are a certain type of person who grew up in survival. They don't know what it feels like to experience unconditional love. They just know, I better get it while the getting is good. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were raised to get what they need from other people and bounce. They don't understand because they never witnessed that, growing up, someone seeing them, feeling heard, feeling validated, by their parents. And so they do bank on the nice girl who has learned to be self-sacrificial for other people. And it's so sad. And it does. It takes so much inner work to kind of get out of that. And I will tell you, once you get out of people pleasing and being a nice girl and you move into being a secure woman, you don't even attract those type of narcissistic people. And if you should talk to one in passing, you are just like not even interested. Like, you are just like repelled, by their energy when it even like approaches you. You see it for what it is. You don't engage. You don't exchange numbers. You keep it going, and they get to being around you. They're kind of like, she's not my type. She thinks that she's stuck up. She thinks that she's too good for whatever. And I love that. So that's like where I'm at now. Finally, where I don't entertain, nor do I attract dusty, narcissistic, abusive, just people, individuals, male or female, who were raised on survival, who have been taught to use other individuals for their own personal gain and then kind of discard them later. We don't do that over here. And we're not doing that over here either. You know why? Because we're getting tools for being healthy. Okay? So I've said all that. How do you do this? How do you make this transition? I want to give you some steps and tools. There are several, and everything does not work for everybody, but these are just like some basics of a couple of things that you can do, which will really help with this transition. And let me get some tea real quick. It's actually cold, but it feels good on my throat. So here are some things that you want to do. I'll kind of give you an overview and then I'll go into more detail. You want to start a new routine, okay? You want to grow in your security of yourself. You also want to either find or make changes to find new friendships or make changes to your current friendships. You want to develop some self-awareness, and then also to be self-compassionate. So the first one, getting into a new routine. On one of my previous videos that I recently posted, I talked about how I start my day, and if you want to have a better day, how you could start it. So this new routine, it's important that you begin the beginning of your day planting seeds of positivity that are going to grow into a beautiful flower, a beautiful, forest of loving kindness. So, for example, when you first wake up, you can start with some gratitude. Like, I literally wake up and it takes me a few seconds. I'm like, oh, I'm awake. And I'm like, take a deep breath. And I'm like, I wake up curious, like, oh, today's going to be a really good day. And I'm just, I'm still waking up, and I've been doing this for a long time. And I've fallen off, and then I realized, oh my gosh, why is my days going so crazy? Like, why is everything so chaotic? And I have to remember, oh, this is why it's important for me to start my day, a certain way. So it's like, oh, today's going to be a really good day. I can just feel it. I go into my affirmations. I always listen to like a sermon from Reverend Ike Legacy when I get up. That's part of my routine. And I don't always journal, but if I am led to journal when I first get up, and I'm talking about like the first 20 minutes of my day, I don't have a long time. Okay, so because I have myself to get ready, I have to get my daughter ready, take her to school. It can get real chaotic real quick, but I have to have minimal 15 minutes where I'm like, ain't nobody getting nothing from me until I pour into myself first. Because again, the world, your family, your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriends, whatever, they can't wait to dump onto you. They can't wait to put a whole bunch of responsibilities on your plate. You start your day taking care of yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. I'm sure you've heard that before. Pour into yourself, okay? Do you some affirmations, outward, out loud, gratitude. If it's 3 things, I'm so thankful for this day. I'm so thankful for good health. I'm so thankful for provision, protection, for guidance. I will even ask my higher self, listen, come and meet me where I am. I don't know what today is going to look like, but come and meet me where I am and give me guidance and give me direction. And give me wisdom and how to go through this day. I trust you. Thank you for coming and meeting me where I'm at. I've had to have those conversations. I specifically remember doing that back in December. And oh my God, it was such a chaotic day. But I think about, when I tell you chaotic, I was babysitting. I was trying to plan a birthday party. And then when I got in my car, my tire was flat. It was pouring down, raining. Like, I remember that day, I wanted to just scream. Actually, I probably did scream. And then I remember after I screamed, I was sitting in the car and I actually recorded myself. I probably will never upload that video, but I said, I wonder how I would be feeling had I not asked God, the Holy Spirit, and my higher self to come and meet me where I was at and give me guidance through this day. Just the fact that I remembered that I had that conversation at the beginning of the start of my day, it calmed me down. Okay, so what you do the first 15 minutes of your day, it really sets the tone for the rest of your day. I stand 10 toes down about that. Okay. So I would definitely say, like I said, be very intentional about how you start your day. It's going to make such a big difference. And then developing a security of yourself. Ways to do that is affirmations, taking care of yourself. If you have a gym membership, go. Even on days when you're sad, you can still go and get on the treadmill, listen to an audiobook, listen to some calm music. You don't have to go in there in beast mode. There's a time and place for everything. A wonderful book that I've been reading. It's a wonderful author. Gosh, I love her. I'm like, how did I not read this 10 years ago? I wish that I would have had this information in my 20s. My life would be, wow, so great, so much greater than it is. The book is called Set Boundaries, Find Peace by Nedra Tawwab. I'll post a picture of it, but that book has been so extremely helpful. Just like me understanding myself better, but also like she talks about like attachment styles. She talks about just like different scenarios of how you might have been raised and what that turns out to look like in your adulthood. How to set boundaries with different personality types. Like the book is hands down, it's fantastic, a 10 out of 10 for sure. And in that book, I've learned so much about myself. There's levels to this journey of self-love and, self-acceptance, but also, self-security. And the other thing that you would want to do with the setting boundaries is learning how to keep them. Again, this book, I highly recommend it. I'm sure there's so many other books about boundaries, but this one is really in the top 3. And a lot of people can attest to, this wonderful book. So setting boundaries, finding peace, learning how to trust yourself and to advocate for yourself. And that all comes with setting boundaries. And I'm going to tell you something. When you begin to set boundaries and you are getting into this transition of no longer being a people pleaser and you're being a secure person, people are going to be pissed, okay? People are going to stop talking to you. They're going to be talking about you. They're going to be bad-mouthing you because they are not comfortable with having restrictions to your time, your energy, and your availability. People who are used to having unlimited access to you, who are no longer getting that, they're going to take it personal, okay? So expect that, but be okay with it. In this book, and I probably had to, because I'm listening to the audiobook, I had to rewind and replay over and over, was the fact that you have to be okay with the uncomfortable feeling of setting boundaries. It is not comfortable because it's different. You are literally rewiring your DNA, your makeup. You're rewiring your brain to put self first. And it doesn't mean that you're selfish. Like a person who's been a people pleaser, who is no longer being a people pleaser because they're putting their self first, you're gonna get called selfish. You're gonna get called, stuck up. People are gonna be like, oh, you're mean, you're not nice. And it's like, excuse me? So I'm mean, I'm a bad person because I'm taking care of myself, or you think you're better than everybody else? I have been called some names, and I don't care. Like, someone calling me selfish is a huge compliment because I know how selfless I used to be. I used to be a doormat. I'm not proud of it, but I damn sure I'm not one anymore. And I don't care. Like, when I tell you, when men started calling me selfish and stuck up and saying, you think you're better than everybody else, you're rude, you're bougie. I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Like, that is such a compliment. When I used to deny myself all the time. And what it got me, it got me some diagnosis from the therapist. Not kidding. No, those days are behind me. Okay, I got me some boundaries. I got me some affirmations. I started a self-love journey 4 years, actually almost 5 years ago now. 2020, 2020, all that quiet time, all that downtime that some of us had because we got laid off at our jobs. We had to look in the mirror, baby. I looked in the mirror a lot, real hard. I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this. And a lot of things changed. A lot of my relationships changed. I lost some friends because they did not like how stuck up and mean and rude and how selfish I was being. Because God forbid I put myself first. God forbid I love myself. God, it will happen. And you have to be okay with that uncomfortable feeling. They'll get over it. If they really love you, they will understand. And you don't have to over explain. Just say, you know what, I need to take better care of myself. So I'm going to have to be pouring a lot more into myself. I'm going to be spending more time with myself. I won't be able to go out and kick it like I used to because I'm trying to invest in myself. They either going to get it or they're not. And that's okay either way. Okay? And it's not easy. When you're used to people liking you, you don't want any negative feedback, but just know that you're doing the right thing by investing in a healthy relationship with yourself. Okay? And mirror work. A lot of times you can do this throughout the day, but I do recommend doing this when you first start the day. Look in the mirror and say something really nice to yourself. If you can't think of anything, I would recommend starting with looking in the mirror. I love you. I love you so much. I love everything about you. I do that. The things that I feel insecure about my body, I point those things out. I'm like, I love my hair. Because I got some thinning edges actually on this side. And I'm like, I love my hair. I love my face. I love my arms, how strong they are. I love my legs. I love these hips because they have, listen, I ain't even gonna go into all that, but my body has changed and I'm rewiring my mind to love and accept fully and completely all this fullness. And it's been really good. It's been really good. And, I'll take it as far as to look in the mirror naked and just admire myself. Because if you're not loving on yourself and admiring yourself and speaking highly of yourself, who else is going to do it? And honestly, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It matters what you think. I record myself saying affirmations and I go back and listen to it. Your brain needs to hear your own voice talk nice to yourself. Okay? This is what you do. Okay? You want to stop being a people pleaser and getting ran over and getting treated like the ring around the baloney. And you don't want to be treated like the booty butt end of the bread. I personally like that end of the bread, but you know what I'm saying. You don't want to get dogged out and talked bad to and mistreated and people are using you and you're letting them. Okay? You're tired of that. These are some tips for how to get out of that. It's not our job to be liked by everyone, and we have to be okay with that. The people who are meant to be in your life, they're going to find you because you're being authentic, because you are being real with yourself first. You are figuring out, who are you? Who is Shayla? If I'm not a mom, if I'm not a friend, if I'm not a wife, if I'm not a daughter, who is Shayla? I've had to answer that question over and over. The first time someone asked me that, I think I was 21. And that answer has changed. After, year after year, it's changed. Who am I? You can't figure that out when you're in everybody else's business and trying to fix everybody else's problems and you're up in the mix of everything. No, get somewhere and sit down. For real. Get somewhere and sit down and go figure out who you are. Okay. The other thing is developing self-awareness, and basically developing self-awareness, you're going to get that from journaling, asking yourself those questions. There are a ton. I get my shadow work questions for journaling from Pinterest. Okay. They are plentiful on Pinterest. You can just type in shadow work, journal prompts, ask yourself those questions and answer them. Sit with yourself. Take 30 minutes. You know, if you could do it every day, 30 minutes, that's fantastic. But asking yourself questions so that you know, what are your beliefs? What are your morals? What is important to you? Okay. That is going to grow your self-awareness. And then the last one is, sorry, I need some water or some tea. Last two, develop self-compassion. If you know anything about grace, you need to give yourself some first. Be gentle with yourself. There is an inner child living inside of everyone. What would that child need? If you could go and give your inner child, your 5-year-old self, your 8-year-old self, your 12-year-old self, any type of love and encouragement, what would you say? That inner child and all of those phases and ages still live inside of us. Talk nice to that child. Okay? Give yourself grace, because this is a lot of work. And the more loving that you are to yourself during this process, because this is a lifestyle. Okay? So the more loving you are, it takes away a lot of the difficulty, you know. And again, if you've been taught to deny yourself, it's gonna be uncomfortable at first, but you owe it to yourself to love yourself. I talk so much better to my inner child. Actually, I keep a picture of little Shayla right here on my wall. Look at it. I think I was 3 in this picture, me and my buddy. But it's a reminder. I keep it, you know, in my room, on my wall. It's a reminder that I need, is that little girl, that 3-year-old is still living inside of me, okay? She needs to be loved. We're all just like children who are grown up, and we're in grown-up bodies. We really are. And then all of these things are going to be developing emotional intelligence in us. So you want to just grow into that. There's a ton of, you know, videos on these subject matters. Gosh, it's like 40 minutes in. So I'm going to wrap things up. But overall, I want to just let you know that at some point in life, even if we have been victimized, we have to take ownership of our life. We have to take responsibility to heal the things that have caused us trauma, things that have caused us to feel broken in life. And no one else is going to come, this one little log, sorry. No one else is going to come and rescue us. We have to rescue ourselves. And that comes with taking accountability for our adulthood, for our lives, and healing the things that, again, that have broken us. And you will perpetuate these hardships by being a nice people pleaser, by being a codependent, you know, needing validation from outside. Learn and practice. This is a lot of practice. This is, again, it's an everyday thing. This is a lifestyle of affirming yourself, of validating yourself. And the more that you do it, you won't even care about anyone's expectation. I'm sorry. Well, you won't care about anyone else's expectation, but you won't care about getting validation from other people. On my job, I'll tell you a little quick story. So I'm in a new department at my job, and I love it. This is the first time in my life I've ever liked my job. It doesn't feel like work to me, because I'm doing what I know that I'm called and supposed to be doing. I go to work, I show up, I do my thing, and I get so much praise, and I'm kind of like, it's weird, because I don't expect it. I don't need it. Like, I don't need validation from my coworkers. Because I don't crave it, I get it. And I'm like, y'all chill. Like I'm just coming here and doing I'm just coming here and doing what I'm supposed to be getting paid to do. And it's such a weird thing. And for a minute I was like, do I have imposter syndrome? Like, um, but when you're secure in yourself, again, it's taken me years to get to this place. So don't feel the pressure to compare yourself to where I'm at. Because I personally still feel like I've got a ways to go, in this what I call a self-love journey. But everyone just like, they're so nice to me. They're so kind to me. I'm like, I'm just coming up here doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, it's not a big deal, but because I'm in such a secure place in myself, and my sense of self doesn't come from my job. It doesn't come from a relationship with anybody. It comes from within me. Finally, I'm kind of just like, oh, thanks. Like, I really appreciate it. But there's not a huge hole, in that space in my heart where I'm like, oh my God, my whole personality. Like I literally have known people who like literally almost lost their effing mind because they got fired from a job because their whole being was wrapped up in their job. Like, we're all expendable when it comes to a job and a career, unless you have your own. Like, unless you work for yourself, you're disposable. So I don't know. I don't have that struggle anymore. But the reason I don't have that struggle anymore with like needing to be liked, one, because I'm not a narcissist, but two, because I've had to develop being my own best friend. I've had to learn how to just praise myself, like myself, show up for myself. And after doing that consistently for so long, it's kind of like, I don't give a crap if, excuse my language, but like, I don't care if these people at this job like me or not. I don't care if these people at my church like me or not. I'm not here for that. I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to show up. I'm here to be authentic. I'm here to be myself. I'm here to fulfill what it is that God put in my heart to do. And if I've done that, I've done well. And when you get in this space, doors will open for you. Your energetic level, your vibration will be higher, and people will just want to do nice things for you, want to bless you, because you have a solid foundation of love within yourself. Self-appreciation, self-validation. You get where I'm going with this. So pour into yourself, be good to yourself. I'm definitely going to make more videos about this because I've heard so many stories of women just this year. It's like just barely March, of several women who they're just in some situations that are bad and unhealthy and dangerous almost, and at the hand of a man, at the hand of their family. And I can't help but just think, like, who taught them that they have to tolerate this? Who programmed them into believing that their happiness and just them as a human being are not worthy of love and peace and acceptance and kindness? And when you don't experience that, you don't know how to really create it in yourself until someone comes in and shows you. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to show you that you are worthy. Okay, so if you don't do anything, start with some affirmations, write on some cards. I've got a ton. I don't want to get up and get them and show you, but I've got a ton of affirmation cards that I make. On my saddest days, I'm like, I can sit in this sadness, or I can do a little something to make myself feel better. And usually it's my affirmation cards. I'll write down, even if I don't feel that feeling, I write it down and I say it out loud. And if you do it enough, your feelings will catch up. So thank you for hearing what I have to share. If you're new to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe. And there's so much more, so much more that I want to share with you guys. But thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video.